We're Sara and E, PhD students in Brown University's Egyptology and Assyriology department.
Well, there is certainly a lot of interesting academic work happening in Near Eastern studies. The Academy is not the only place to get caught up on the coolest news items. One resource that many Assyriologists subscribe to is the Agade listserv, compiled by Jack Saffin, the Mary Jane Worthen Professor of Judaic and Biblical Studies at Vanderbilt University. For more than 2 decades, Saffin has been sending daily emails highlighting books, news, and opportunities within the field, which we want to share with you. In addition to the Agade list, we have scoured the internet for the most exciting news stories and public scholarship related to the ancient Near East.
Throughout the month, EL and I will curate a selection of items for interested non-specialists, then we'll share them with you in videos like this so that you can be part of the conversation.
Archaeology student Melina Seabrook takes the whiteness of the field of archaeology to task in her article, A Deafening Absence. The lack of diversity in archaeology, and particularly the archaeology of the ancient Near East, hurts the field and hurts the Black scholars and scholars of color who undertake the incredible additional work necessary to make spaces for themselves within this oppressive field. Read Seabrook's piece to better understand what's gone wrong and what needs to be done.
If you are still not convinced that we need diversity in the study of the ancient world and everywhere, check out the latest from the Digital Hammurabi podcast. Bethany Hux, a PhD student at the University of Heidelberg, talks about her PhD research and why diversity is so badly needed in our fields.
Have you been spending your quarantine perfecting your sourdough bread or developing new culinary habits? Why not add a few Mesopotamian recipes to the rotation? Writer Jessica Eng with Atlas Obscura walks you through some of the history of cooking in the ancient Near East, and then provides some recipes so that you can play along at home.
We often think about and study writing as a way of encoding information, but the 🀭 Project has a fantastic write-up about how we can think about the action of writing, particularly of ancient scripts. Take a look at their post for stunning images of the people who wrote, depictions of the process of writing, and my new favorite, Rabbit Scribe.
This month was the first I'd ever heard of the Jew God Project, a blog that focuses on material, religion, and context, but I'm hooked. Take a look in particular at Amy Hinn's recent article on the polychromy of ancient art and how recognition of this color has been weaponized by structures of white supremacists.
In Fight or Die for Eidolon, Priya Jackson talks about concrete actions we can take that go beyond just citing Black scholars and truly change the associations between white supremacy and classical studies. Her piece not only addresses actions that scholars and students can take, but also provides a ton of information on what these issues are in previous work that has touched on them.
Listen, I'm not just including this piece by 𝀭Wong because it has soft boys in its title, but I'd be lying if I said that didn't contribute to my decision. Her piece will introduce you both to Latin elegiac poetry and to some Instagram accounts that you should probably be following.
If you've been trying to research over the past few months, you know how hard it can be with libraries and archives closed. Now more than ever, digital resources have become critical for learning, but sometimes it's hard to know where to go to find these. Luckily for us, Amy Fallis provides a guide for research on modern Egypt in her piece for Hazin.
While you're over on Hazin's site, take a look at Marwa Gadala and Anne Mansour's interview with artist, activist, and academic Bahia Shahab about her project to document Arabic script. Her visual encyclopedia of Arabic letters, a type lab project, will incorporate visual examples of script from over 70,000 historical and contemporary Arabic letters, and her interview and the accompanying images is beautiful.
June was Pride Month, so in honor of the queer folks interested in the study of these cultures and the queer folks whose experiences are often written out of the history of these cultures, we wanted to feature some queer stories. Over on the Journal for the History of Ideas blog, historian of science Shireen Hamza shares her experience reading a Yemeni manuscript describing a marriage between 2 men, or perhaps between a man and a kunta of ambiguous gender.
You can also read about non-binary gender identities in the ancient Near East in a great Twitter thread by the incomparable Dr. Moody al-Rashid. She describes characters from literature and myth that are described as explicitly not conforming to false ideas of a gender binary. Hopefully, we'll be able to feature more on this topic soon.
Filed under interesting books that came out this month is Calling Out to Isis, the Enduring Nubian Presence at Philae by Solange Ashby. Dr. Ashby takes on the expansion of the cult of the goddess Isis and extends the study into the oft-neglected population of Nubian worshippers.
After checking out that book, do you want to hear more directly from the author herself, Dr. Ashby? Of course you do. Head on over to YouTube for her interview with Philippe Matthews on the integration of Egyptology into Africana studies, the role of Nubian studies in Egyptology, and how it all relates to white supremacy in the United States.
It would be hard to argue that the city of Babylon has not had a cultural effect on the world today, especially considering Lady Gaga's latest nod to the ancient city. To learn more about this cultural behemoth, check out a podcast on the topic from the BBC, featuring experts from the United States, the UK, and Iraq, the home to the city itself.
When working within the confines of an institution as long-standing as academia, it is hard to come to terms completely with the many ways in which racism bleeds into our various disciplines. In a blog post for In Between, Aaron D'Souza explores his own in-between perspective as it relates to how he approaches the study of the ancient world.
An exciting project currently ongoing in the Middle East is the Mapping Mesopotamian Monuments Project. In the latest from Mar Shiprim, Matthew Peebles and Erhan Tamur of Columbia University provide a detailed overview of the history of the project, as well as the fieldwork undertaken so far. If anything, check out this blog post for the beautiful pictures.
Looking to diversify your work from home productivity playlist? Ever considered adding some Akkadian to the mix? Look no further than the 𝀭S archive of recorded Akkadian texts. Hear ancient sounds from modern mouths from the recently updated list provided by the Ancient World Online.
If you're having trouble convincing your parents to take coronavirus safety measures, maybe try getting them to listen to Zimri Lim. That's right, the king of ancient Mari 4,000 years ago. In her article for Narratively, Carly Silver breaks down the mystery disease ravaging Zimri Lim's kingdom and the way he managed to flatten the curve.
That's it for June's selection. Thanks again to Dr. Sasson for his work on creating this list, for the community for creating awesome things, and for you and your interest. We'll be taking a much-needed break next month from Assyriology today, but we can't wait to be back on your screens in September with more updates, stories, and fascinating Twitter threads.